This week on Arizona Illustrated, the Bug Man.
Hard to say whether it's love or admiration or what, because the insects are always a fulfilling part of my life.
The peculiar case of a jungle parasite.
They'll lay their eggs inside the ants' brood chambers. And when these baby beetles hatch, they eat the ants' young.
A look back at sign spinner Codie Norman.
The secret to sign spinning, in my opinion, guerrilla marketing is to make you talk about me.
And Martín's Comida.
I take a lot of pride in these beans. They come from my family's farms. It's a labor of love. I use it as like a form of meditation.
Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. As a young boy, Carl Olson was fascinated by insects. Now, as a retired instructor from the University of Arizona, he shares his knowledge and passion for this often maligned kingdom of critters with anyone who'll listen. This is the Bug Man.
Really hard to say whether it's love or admiration or what, because the insects are always a fulfilling part of my life. They always have been since I was a little kid, and I just take it to the next levels by working in jobs that were about insects. They are so fascinating from every aspect, whether it's their biology, their behavior, and their behaviors are off the charts with things that they do. So I always pick up those weird behaviors that I can use when I'm giving presentations. But then the beauty of them was just so incredible if you stop to look. Wow, it's the colors of the rainbow. The main bathroom is the room that we decided to use as a display for all the insect art, because I used to have it in a room that I worked in all the time, but nobody ever could see it. So my wife said, "Oh, put them all up in the bathroom." So I said, "Okay." So then people can come in here and cringe maybe, or just enjoy it because it's neat. And is there a favorite? Hard to pick a favorite of art things, just like picking a favorite bug do you have, and I don't, because they're all so interesting to me. The one with the huge antennae, exceedingly long, is called a weta, and it's a New Zealand cricket, if you will, almost the size of my hand, the real ones. And so this one is essentially life-sized. Even though I retired from the entomology department at the U of A in 2013, I still like to come in and do volunteer work in the collection. We changed it all over right about when I was retiring, and so there's still plenty of work to do. It allows me to keep my fingers in the subject, but also it gives me a chance to interact with colleagues that worked in the collection like I am, which is volunteering and learning more about things that they love. You know, the insect world is one of the, wow, I'm always feeling alive when I'm doing it. And with singing, it just brings out even more of that life. It just makes you feel so good at performing. And then You know, I don't do a lot of solos or things like that. I fit into the choir, and so it's nice blending with all of these people. And in that way, I take the joy of bugs and I can actually enjoy the people that I'm hanging out with because they're doing things that I like too. I still get calls from a lot of different groups to come and give presentations. And the Green Valley group was a garden club. And I'd been down, a few years before, I think, and gave them a talk. And so they've invited me back. I guess they like me. I hope, because it's always fun to come and, again, educate the public. Unfortunately, the things that get taught are fear and paranoia of bugs. The only fear that I might put out is the stupid poisons that too many people use to take away life. And that's the attitude in so many places. We don't want to have nature. We want to have something artificial. But what do the ants do? Wow, they're incredible. And so you have to get over this fear of bugs because they're not out to kill you. They're really out to make our lives that much better. They fulfill so much in our community. If we got rid of them, our community wouldn't survive. So that's a big goal of mine, is to continue to teach. It's my life. You know, if there's one thing that's been a constant, it's been the joy of insects.
Instead of using poisons to kill insects, Olson favors natural methods such as other insects that prey on pests, or growing plants that repel unwanted insects. One young grad student at the University of Arizona also chose entomology as her life's passion. Here's her take and infatuation with a strange jungle beetle from 2016.
Hello, my name is Angela Hoover, and I am a master's graduate student at the University of Arizona, and I study entomology. When I first came to the University of Arizona, I was a little bit unsure about what project I'd be working on for my graduate studies, and I, by chance, came upon this group called Homopterus and their very strange antennal shape. I was immediately drawn to just how peculiar they look. They're very fern-shaped antennae, and you don't normally see that in beetles. So I was curious as to why this possibly evolved and how these beetles were using this adaptation in the environment. These beetles are actually parasites on ants. So what they'll do is they'll wander as adults through the arboreal canopies in the jungle, and ants will find them and actually drag them back to their nests. And the research kind of suggests at the moment that the beetles smell like ants and perhaps mimic their acoustic cues. So the ants believe that either these beetles are ants or through other chemical means are very pleasant and they attract them. So the ants will drag the beetles back to their nests. And once the beetles are inside, they'll lay their eggs inside the ants' brood chambers. And when these baby beetles hatch, they eat the ants' young. And the ants don't really quite care about it, and we think it's because of the chemical and acoustic cues. It tricks them. I think these tiny creatures that we don't normally see are very charismatic, and to be honest, I find a lot of them adorable. There's a lot that we don't think about and we don't see, especially as far as beetles taking care of their young or trying to make it in the world and not be parasitized. And I think that there are definitely a lot of parallels that could be drawn between our lives and insects trying to make it in the world if we just get past the fact that they're a little creepy and crawly and have a couple more legs than we do.
It's no accident that in 2015, Tucson was named the first World City of Gastronomy by the United Nations. Small family restaurants serving regional cuisine are at the core of that designation. Well, Martin's on 4th is one of those special places that make dining out in Tucson a culinary adventure.
This is a job that everybody has done for their grandmother at their kitchen table. Nobody gets away without doing this at one point or another. She would be very, very strict about it. Like that would not pass my grandmother's inspection, something that's broken like that. These are the Mayacoba beans that come from Guasave, Sinaloa. I just came back and brought 300 kilos of them. Most of my cousins there are planters and they grow these. I think it's a labor of love. I use it as like a form of meditation. It gives me a moment to think about what else I need to do. It's not like opening up a can. I take a lot of pride in these beans. They come from my family's farms. We're at Martín's Comida Chingona at 555 North 4th Avenue. I'm going on my 18th year. On May 9th is when I open. I'm making a tomatillo pozole. Vegetarian, it's gonna be amazing. I dreamt up this recipe on the way up from Sinaloa on my trip for Christmas, and I'm gonna try it, see how it goes. I took care of my mother and I got a job at the oldest Mexican restaurant downtown. And I noticed that I never clock watched when I was at work, even though I spent 10 hours or 12 hours. And I really enjoyed it. Not only does it make me tired and physical, it's also very social, and I just like playing with food. As a child, it was always like the center of the household, the kitchen. I grew up in Mexicali, Baja California. When I graduated from my Catholic school, I went to Nogales High School. I lived with my grandmother at the time. I finished school and I came up to go to school here at the U of A. Have a nice day. Happy New Year to you, sir. I'm not a very fancy chopper. When you're eating my rice, you're gonna get a little chunk of onion and go, ooh. So you can distinguish the flavors of each thing in each dish. Separately, we do the soup for the rice, and then we do the toasting of the rice. I'm gonna put the garlic in here and toast the garlic to give the oil flavor. And then we're gonna put the rice. You add it a little bit at a time so it toasts nice and evenly. And we put them together. It's 5 minutes of cooking, boiling, and then turn off the heat, and 20 minutes of just sitting, and you got perfect rice. I was the youngest of all my brothers, and my mother had progressed diabetes. I took all these Mexican recipes because she used to cook for us a lot, and I kind of tweaked them to the healthier side. So instead of adding more salt to the food, I would add more garlic and spices to make it taste better. And I would add nopalitos to her food. They have all kinds of benefit. It's a green vegetable, and it tends to control your blood sugar very well, which is really important even if you don't suffer from diabetes. I brought her home with me, and I took care of her at home. According to her doctor, a nephrologist, I extended her life by about 3 years, easily, or 4, just by keeping track of her diet. I would make these beautiful recipes and just make them healthy. So when I came to open the restaurant, I decided not to have a deep fryer. I decided not to even have a freezer here. So everything that comes in is freshly cooked as needed. When the health department comes, they go, where's your frozen food? Where's your raw food? There is no such thing, because when I need to make the chicken mole, as soon as I get the chicken, we cook it all into mole. These are the Mayacoba beans. I just put a little bit of corn oil and a pinch of sea salt. This is the final bean. We greet you with a little bit of beans over your chips. Señoritas, I like to think I can feed everybody here, whether you have some kind of dietary restriction or some kind of illness. Cool, I'll be back. Pretty much all our food, except for the meats and the cheese and the eggs, are vegan. It's easy to do. A lot of people have opened restaurants recently, and I do things a little differently that sometimes they may not understand why I don't have sour cream or deep fried chimichangas, and they honestly don't think I'm Mexican, but it's really strange. ¿Quieres caramelo? ¿No quieres tacos? I'm trying to make myself known again. I used to think word of mouth was really important, and it did work for me for 10, 15 years. But now I'm really trying to work a little more of my media, my Instagram, my Facebook. People really look up things on the internet and they believe what's on there, whether it's true or not. You have to go after the money now. It's not walking in the door. I think food has a very important part in life is to balance your blood. It's supposed to make you feel better after you eat, not make you feel clumsy or heavy. It is designed to make you feel better, not make you feel worse.
In 2017, we brought you a story about sign spinning as a form of advertising, and we met local sign spinner Codie Norman. Now we share some unfortunate news. Codie passed away recently at age 58. Friends and relatives described him as a positive, loving person who wanted others to smile. Here's a look back.
I always say the best time to hydrate for today was yesterday. This heat can kill you, so you gotta beat the heat. You can't let it beat you.
In advertising, it's really important to grab people's attention so that you can give them your message. Sign spinning is really effective for that purpose because it starts by getting your attention. Not only does it get your attention, but it then delivers whatever the message is that's actually on the sign. Sometimes the message is also part of the way the person is dressed. Not only will it grab your attention and cause your eye to pull over to see what they're doing, but you're also more likely to watch them for an extended period of time. What are they going to do next?
My name's Codie Norman. I own Cool Cat Street Level Promotions, but I'm better known as the Cool Cat. About 11 years ago, some skateboarders down in San Diego, California, they got a job holding signs. And then they started doing tricks with this sign and went, hey, this is cool. And that's how it was born.
It's really a retro idea. It harkens back to the sandwich board sign that the people used to wear with a sign on the front and back, and they'd walk up and down the street. And it's a similar format to that. Today you see mannequins out, motorized mannequins that are spinning signs and doing the same thing. Obviously there's a cost effectiveness to that it's still motion and it looks like a person, so it grabs your attention.
I love them because they prove what I do works.
I think they're both effective, but I would bet that a real person being able to jump around and throw the sign in the air is going to be more attention-grabbing than the robo-spinners would be.
You've got to create an emotion. Well, my emotion that I evoke is a smile and a thank you, and you have a great day. And I'm going to give you every ounce of me that I have, and that shows in my performance. One day I was riding down the street and looking for a job, and I seen a We Buy Gold place. And I went in and I said, hey, I ain't trying to be funny, but I'm here to make you some money. And he had one of these large arrow-shaped signs, and to be honest, I had never seen sign spinning before in my life. And so I went to work, $6 an hour, $6 an hour, and I got out there and I loved it. And it's just blossomed from that.
I've noticed that several sign spinners are so theatrical that the sign itself actually gets lost in the shuffle.
The sign spinning is designed to get your attention. Once you have their attention, if you're spinning your sign, you're spinning your wheels.
It's not designed to convey a whole lot of information.
when they get the look, smile, how you doing, pointed sign, and in less than a second, I've just communicated, smile, good morning, and have a great day, and check out the specialist.
Are they effective? Do they get people to stop, pull off the road, pull in, buy something? Advertising is about impressions. And what an impression is the number of people that actually see the advertising and have it make an impression on their mind. They may not act on that sign spinner that day, but over a period of time it might build up into a meaningful impression.
The secret to sign spinning, in my opinion, guerrilla marketing, is to make you talk about me. I call it dinner table advertising. When they see the cool cat, they get home at the dinner table, they talking about that cool cat. And when they talk about the cool cat, oh, I seen him doing it for so-and-so. I seen him over at so-and-so again.
It's a form of marketing that creates buzz and viral marketing as well. And if you can do that, if you can get people to use your slogan or talk about your product in a positive way and then post it on their social media, you've won the game. It's a fad. It would be interesting to see if in 20 years there's still people standing on corners spinning signs, because we went for many, 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 many years without them, and now it kind of seems like they're quite all over the place. But I bet you in 20 years it will not be as brisk as it is right now.
Most of my clients are long-term. I'm there every week at the same time, 3 hours a day. You know, right now I'm doing 5 clients this week in 8 different locations. I believe that barring injury, there is no time limit, because I truly believe that it's not all about the spin. I put a smile on my face, I forget all of my problems, no matter how insurmountable they are. The moment I step on the corner, I turn on the tunes, and you get the first smile, my frown's gone.
Like what you see on Arizona Illustrated? Visit our webpage at azpm.org to watch and share stories from this and previous episodes. And like us on Facebook, where you can watch stories, comment, and share your own story ideas. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, where we share photos and links about the show and what's happening in our community.
Now, from our occasional series Far Afield, we bring you local artist Golden Boots from Golden Pins Lanes. Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. See you next week.